A very good afternoon to all our esteemed guests, dignitaries, speakers, media personnel. I'm Manasvi Vyas on behalf of Network 7 Media Group. Extend a warm welcome to all of you at the 10th Annual Leadership Conclave and Indian Affairs Business Leadership Awards 2019. Well, I know it's a busy day, it's an afternoon, and we are all here to once again witness this beautiful India Leadership Conclave that has been happening annually. Well, I'm Manasvi Vyas, and I have been given this opportunity for the third time, and it's my privilege to host this magnificent and historic conclave by Network 7 Media Group. I must thank Mr. Satya Brahma for once again believing in me and giving me this beautiful opportunity once again. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we all know that since its inception, India Leadership Conclave and Indian Affairs Business Leadership Awards, as we popularly know it as ILC brand power, well, it is one of the Asia's most popularly awaited prestigious meeting points wherein our leaders, they would want to come, meet up, speak out their minds, voice their thoughts without any fear or without any favor. At this illustrious platform created by Media 7 Group Network. Nelson Mandela, Hillary Clinton, Ratan Tata, Yash Chopra, and Shobha Dey are among the very few names associated with this title. Well, the last 9 years, the last 9 editions have been really high voltage, brainstorming, debate-centric, and successfully organized. So here we are, once again, amongst you with the 10th edition of India Leadership Conclave and Indian Affairs Business Leadership Awards 2019. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you must be aware in his Independence Day speech, our very own Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji said that he wants and wishes to make India a $5 trillion economy in the coming next year. He also proposed that he wants to put in rupees 100 lakh crores of investment in infrastructure. Our very own Mr. Mukesh Ambani says India has to become a $10 trillion economy by 2030. He said so during his speech at the AGM of Reliance Industries. He further added that a slowdown of certain sectors is just for the time being, and things will surely gear up in the times to come. This is just a temporary phase. That's what he said. So what is the real picture? We'll be discussing some of the key aspects of the logic, truth versus hype. India Leadership Conclave believes that to push the GDP growth, the rupee exchange rate must be stable, and reforms for the contributing sectors should be in place. Well, after a decisive mandate, India's new government has settled down to work quickly to address the most intricate problems being faced by the economy. Well, the truth is that to become a $5 trillion economy in 5 years, India's normal GDP must grow at least at the rate of 12.7% compounded annually, with an underlying assumption of the rupee-dollar rate remaining stable around the same level. Well, to understand this, let's have a look at the chart, please. Can we have the chart, please? Well, I'm sure everyone is aware of the budget, and we all know that the expected growth numbers for the current and the next 2 years are taken from the budget documents. For 2022-23 and 2023-24, the numbers are assumed optimistically. And so, India's GDP in 2023 and 2024 is tantalizingly close to $5 trillion at the current exchange rate. So, ladies and gentlemen, India will constantly need to grow at the rate of 9% and elevate the aggregate investment rate to 38% of GDP in order to realize our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji's ambition of seeing India as a $5 trillion economy. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we are at this India Leadership Conclave, because over the next 5 hours, we'll be having debates, discussions of tremendous significance to be deliberated by our esteemed speakers. But before we start our maiden welcome and address, and before I present to you the theme of India Leadership Conclave 2019, I would request all of you to kindly stand for our national anthem before we officially commence India Leadership Conclave and Indian Affairs Business Leadership Awards 2019. Can we have the national anthem, please? And may I request all of you kindly stand up for the national anthem?
Janagana mana adhinayak jaya he Bharat bhagya vidhata Punjab Sindh Gujarat Maratha Dravida Utkal Banga Vindhya Himachal Yamuna Ganga Uchchal Jaladi Taranga Tav Shubha Name Jage Tav Shubha Ashish Mage गाहे तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगल नायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Jai Hind. Well, of course, we are here to discuss the issues and the important points regarding our own country. So let's have a look at the Team AV of India Leadership Conclave and Indian Affairs Business Leadership Awards 2019. Can we have the AV, please?
मैं तो ऐसे झूठ को जानता हूँ, ये झूठ चल रहा है, मुझे कोई परेशानी नहीं होती। चिंता कांग्रेस जैसी पार्टी जो 125 साल पुरानी है, वो इस जगह पे पहुंच गई तो उसको झूठ के सहारे जीना पड़ रहा है।
सदन के सामने स्पष्ट करना चाहता हूं, एज अ लेजिस्लेटर, मैं जब दोनों संकल्प और बिल लेकर आया हूं, तो मैं मानता हूं कि जम्मू कश्मीर में एक लंबे रक्तपात भरे युग का अंत धारा 370 के समाप्त होने से पहले।
I am not here to pinpoint. I don't take any sides actually. I don't speak for Congress, I don't speak for BJP, I don't speak for Communist Party, I don't speak for AAP, I don't speak for anyone. I am talking about what exactly is happening in the country.
A big hello and welcome to the 10th Annual India Leadership Conclave and Indian Affairs Business Leadership Awards 2019. The timing of hosting this historic and iconic conclave titled Opportunities, the $5 trillion mission, Challenges and Opportunities assumes tremendous significance in view of the historic mandate received by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, virtually decimating the opposition and riding on to take brand India to the global map. There are two important and significant landmarks post the second term of the Modi government. Chandrayaan-2 launch from the Satish Dhawan Space Center at Sriharikota from its most powerful rocket with a plan to land the rover on September 7th in the unexplored lunar South Pole, carrying a billion dreams in a giant leap for the country's ambitious low-cost space program, the most complex and prestigious mission ever undertaken by the Indian Space Research Organization ISRO, making India the fourth country after Russia, the US and China. And the second historic moment is that of abolishing the triple talaq. Prime Minister Modi said an archaic and medieval practice has finally been confined to the dustbin of history. Parliament abolishes triple talaq and corrects a historical wrong done to Muslim women. This is a victory of gender justice and will further promote equality in society. This is an occasion to salute the remarkable courage of those Muslim women who have suffered great wrongs just due to the practice of triple talaq. The abolition of triple talaq will contribute to women empowerment and give women the dignity they deserve in our society. Ladies and gentlemen, India, the second most populous nation in the world, is also one of the largest and fastest growing economies in the globe. The economic growth, along with various factors, including a large pool of youth population and proficiency in a global language like English, is expected to propel the country into becoming a developed economy. The ruling Narendra Modi government has set the ambitious target of taking the economy to $5 trillion in the next 5 years. However, India Leadership Conclave believes that despite being one of the largest economies overall in terms of GDP, the nation has not been successful in maintaining the same levels of achievement at the ground level. The country is ranked 139th when it comes to per capita GDP. Also, when you assess individual purchasing parity, the ranking of the country is 119. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, in her budget speech, said in the current fiscal, India's economy will grow to become $3 trillion economy, sixth largest in the world. There is no doubt that Narendra Modi's ruling Bharatiya Janata Party is an election-winning machine. But Indian Affairs feels that its ideology is sharply at odds with economic or social common sense. Results for India's general election released on 23rd May saw a landslide victory for the Bharatiya Janata Party (BJP), which increased its huge parliamentary majority. Narendra Modi and his ruling BJP have swept back to power. The party won 303 seats in the Lok Sabha, the lower house of India's parliament, bettering the 282 seats they won in 2014, a performance that not many thought was possible. BJP's historic win decimated the opposition.
मैं नरेंद्र दामोदर दास मोदी ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि मैं विधि द्वारा स्थापित भारत के संविधान के प्रति सच्ची श्रद्धा और निष्ठा रखूंगा।
India Leadership Conclave, currently in its 10th annual year, is hosting the iconic and historic 10th Annual India Leadership Conclave and Indian Affairs Business Leadership Awards 2019 with the powerful and aptly theme of opportunities, where we intend to do a post-mortem of how the first term of the Modi government has fared and what is in store for Modi 2.0. Ladies and gentlemen, India Leadership Conclave platform has always maintained to show the real picture of India and believes that if India has to realize its India at 75 vision by 2022 and its dream of becoming a $5 trillion economy by 2025, bold and transformative measures will have to be implemented by the government. They must be inclusive, and to that effect, this will require a mindset shift that spans policy, projects and partnerships. Independent India is 71 years old and may be the fastest growing economy in the world. Yet poverty, inequalities and digital divides continue to bedevil the Indian economy. This combined paradox of economic success and deprivation for many makes the study of Indian political economy complex, interesting and consequential. We have reasons to believe that when critical questions are simplistically equated with an anti-government agenda, it requires courage to hold decision makers accountable. Network 7 Media Group don't want to just give you the news. We aim to promote critical thinking, self-reflection and empathy to encourage informed decision-making. We are at a crucial moment for both independent media and fearless reporting. We are committed and will continue to bring you the honest, independent truth on all the important social, political, cultural and economic and liberty topics that really matter. We are fearless. We are independent. We cannot be silenced or intimidated. We believe in absolute freedom, individual liberty and higher standards of journalistic practice. Ladies and gentlemen, India's $5 trillion economy plans looks good on paper, but it needs to address gaps. India Leadership Conclave is of the opinion that India needs foreign direct investment, FDI urgently, and lots of it. Since FDI, unlike portfolio investment, is long-term patient capital, entrepreneurs and bankers like to examine proposals very carefully. India's record on the dispute resolution front has also proved to be extremely worrying. That is why most investors prefer to insert a clause allowing for international arbitration from a seat outside of India. India's judicial sector needs massive overhaul and must be free from political interference. In the past 1 year or so, key criminals have been let off because witnesses were either not traceable or had turned hostile after the case had dragged on for 20 years or so. Moreover, the biggest litigant in India is the government. Even the National Law Commission called it a compulsive litigant, a view ratified by the Supreme Court. India Leadership Conclave believes that to push India to becoming a $5 trillion economy requires investments in human capital, which includes health and education. India falters here as well. Yes, there is a new medical insurance scheme in Ayushman Bharat, but the doctors are missing. There are 76,000 MBBS seats in the country, out of which 40,000 in government colleges and 36,000 in private sector. Out of 36,000 seats, 30,000 seats are in private colleges and the rest, 6,000 seats in deemed universities. The recent announcement by the Health Minister, Harshvardhan, moving the National Medical Commission in Parliament for legislation hopefully will address the key issues, and it indeed is an important legislation to improve medical education in the country. Indian Affairs believes that India has seen a phenomenal rise in unemployment the last decade, from around 2% in 2011-2012 to 6% in 2017-2018, the highest in more than 4 decades. Its capacity to generate formal employment, create access to quality primary education, or provide basic services such as healthcare, housing, or access to clean drinking water is decades behind compared to several poorer and smaller countries such as Sri Lanka or even Libya. The principal challenge that any government in India will confront is that of tackling these public policy shortfalls. If the last 5 years of BJP rule are any indication, the country has barely begun to make a dent in coping with these hurdles. There is no reason to believe the intent of the government to roll out the reforms process, but India Leadership Conclave has doubts of the successful implementation of these policies and promises made to the people of India in the recently bitterly fought general elections. We have some straightforward questions. Here are the promises made to us when India voted Prime Minister Narendra Modi back to power for the second term. The victory is historic and the mandate too demands what the government had promised. India's GDP growth rate will be 9 to 10% by 2022. The investment rate will increase from 29% in 2017-18 to 36% in 2022-23. Every Indian will have a bank account, life insurance, accident insurance, pension and retirement planning services by 2022. Farmers' incomes will be doubled by 2022. Double from what base, which year, has cleverly never been specified, and incomes will anyway increase with inflation. Let's make no mistake, income is not profit. Provide irrigation to all farms, har khet ko pani, with improved on-farm water use efficiency, more crop per drop. There will be no crop residue burning to reduce air pollution. Every household will have a LPG cylinder. By 2022, Indian Railway safety standards will be such that nobody will ever die. 0 fatalities in a train accident. The Mumbai-Ahmedabad bullet train will be completed by 2022, but Railway Minister Piyush Goyal now says this was never the deadline. It's December 2023. The growth rate of the manufacturing sector will double by 2022 from the base of 7.7% between 2012-13 to 2017-18. Every Indian will have a house by 2022. Every Indian will have a toilet by 2022. Every Indian will have 24/7 electricity supply by 2022. Every Gram Panchayat, not every house, will have broadband internet reaching it by 2022. This was supposed to have been done by 2018. The government will ensure 100% digital literacy by 2022. In other words, every Indian will know how to use the internet. Every Indian will have a water connection by 2022. This deadline has already been extended to 2024 without pretending it was ever promised to be delivered by 2022. India will be free of malnutrition by 2022. 700 district headquarter hospitals will be turned into medical centers through public-private partnership. Private industry will be made to adopt primary healthcare centers (PHCs) to train healthcare professionals, upgrade technology and improve patient outcomes. 20 medical free zones (MFZs) will be created to attract medical tourism. 100 plus new tourist destinations will be created in underdeveloped areas. Manual scavenging will be eradicated. Proportion of formally skilled labor from the current 5.4% of India's workforce will be increased to at least 15%. 2 to 3 million jobs in the healthcare sector and 40 million jobs through tourism and 5 million new jobs through mines and minerals will be created. All single-use plastic will be banned by 2022. India will have 175 gigawatt of renewable energy capacity by 2022. The current capacity is 80 gigawatt. Reduce imports of oil and gas by 10% by 2022-23. Double the length of national highways NH to 2 lakh kilometer by 2022-23 from the existing 1.22 lakh kilometer. All delayed infrastructure projects as of 2017, some of which have been in the works for decades, will be completed by 2022. The female labor force participation rate will be 30% by 2022. No student in any school in India will drop out before completing class 10. No student will be out of school. Increase the gross enrollment ratio (GER) in higher education from 25% in 2016-17 to 35% by 2022-23. The above promises must be given a serious look. Ladies and gentlemen, India may be the fastest growing major economy in the world, but it confronts serious headwinds with growth slowing, demand waning, private investment still missing, and the global economy facing uncertainty. The economy must expand significantly faster than it is growing today. Satya Brahma, Chairman and Editor-in-Chief of Network 7 Media Group, is of the opinion that the government can no longer shy away from enhancing expenditure in education and health. There will be a negative effect on employment if Indian primary school education does not improve in the next 5 years. There will not be sufficient skill. The Ayushman Bharat healthcare scheme will also need more funds. 12,000 crore rupees have been allocated to be able to benefit a larger section of the society. In addition, the state governments will have to improve primary health centers. Rapid economic growth is also crucial if India is to generate jobs for its youthful workforce, eradicate extreme poverty, and achieve Modi's aim of turning India into a major player on the world stage. India's challenge is an echo of what developing economies around the world are facing as a widening trade war initiated by the United States depresses sentiment and investment. India's state-owned banks are also burdened by the corporate loans gone sour, which has made them more reluctant to lend. The real test of India as a world leader will depend much on our ability to take risk and think out of the box. We need to change our strategy and make bold steps. Political, economic, and strategic dynamics worldwide has thrown fresh challenges. International trade is not a zero-sum game, and there is always complex dynamics at play. Despite Washington's displeasure, it will be business as usual for Indo-Russian defense relations. Indo-Russian defense cooperation, especially in the naval nuclear domain, will continue to prosper irrespective of US concerns. India has opened conversations with over 250 American companies that are exploring a shift in manufacturing operations from China, an effort that has received fresh impetus after the meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump. Japanese businesses have steadily increased their presence in India since 2014, and the momentum may pick up over the next few years, aided by the deepening bilateral strategic partnership. Back home, India has embarked upon an ambitious plan to steer India to make the $5 trillion economy by initiating and strengthening plethora of reforms in various key sectors like agriculture, infrastructure, energy. Let's hope that independent India's dream to be a great nation will be fulfilled. Patience is the art of hoping.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was our theme for India Leadership Conclave 2019. Opportunities. Can India seize a $5 trillion economy? And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to invite on stage the man himself, Mr. Satya Brahma, Chairman and Editor-in-Chief, Network 7 Media Group, for the welcome address. But before he steps on the stage, Mr. Satya Brahma is India's most respected and distinguished journalist. He's the chairman and editor-in-chief of Network 7 Media Group. He's also known for championing his cause for citizens' rights and freedom of speech. Well, he's closely working with United Nations. He's at the forefront of United Nations peace program, and he is also the author of Vision India: Truth versus Hype. Well, Mr. Satya is an industry expert and one of India's top journalists. Mr. Satya holds a master's degree in political science with first-class gold medalist from Behrampur University and master's degree in journalism and mass communication. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Satya Brahma to deliver the welcome address. And before he steps on the stage, let's have a look at the AV, showing Satya Brahma's perspective on the present state of affairs in the country. Can we have the AV,
please? The election in 2019 is much more bigger than 2014, as Prime Minister Narendra Modi has silenced all his critics through massive public mandate. In fairness to him, Modi has streamlined an enormously complex system of state and federal tax collection, broadening the tax base and sharply reducing the amount of money lost to fraud. That's a historic accomplishment in a country with so many development needs. However, there are more areas of concerns like unemployment and agrarian crisis, etc.
I know that he has got a lot of experience with him. I also understand that Mr. Modi is also a popular leader, and we have a lot of expectation on the union government that is going to take. 68% of Indian populations who live in villages earn less than $1 per day. Healthcare is a bigger challenge. Has Modi government founded a healthcare policy for itself? No. Have they given equal status to homeopathy? No. Have they lifted healthcare policy at all by taking all figures into consideration? Narendra Modi came to power for 2014, but he thought about actually 15 years actually. That is why when you speak, Prime Minister speaks that in 2013 I am going to see that. This means he is prepared that 2019 is going to be there, and also in 2014 is also going to be there. So 2013 is going to be there. That is what is meant to point. But if he is going to be there, let us address the core issues and bring into the consensus. There are people who are talking, why is going abroad? Why not spending time in India? Why not keeping the house in order? But do you know what he did actually? He did what others couldn't understand. He did what Mayavati didn't understand. He did what Rahul didn't understand. He did the entire India understood, and that is, he built the image of India to the world. And to me, that is the turning point of India's emergence as a global power. Emergence as a global power. Emergence as a global power.
Satya Brahma, the visionary chairman and editor-in-chief of Network 7 Media Group, believes that the youth to strive to build a new India which is free of fear, corruption, hunger, discrimination, illiteracy, poverty, caste barriers, and urban-rural divide. The future belongs to those who dare to dream and possess the courage, resilience, and competence to create a better tomorrow. Freedom of speech and foreign policy must go hand in hand to build India not just the largest democracy, but a great nation. Satya Brahma believes that only strong opinions with definitive actions can influence the policy makers of the society, and hence is committed to bring and expose the hidden stories that need global audience. Network 7 Media Group has strategic collaborations with worldwide media leaders to disseminate lead stories. The good news for India is that we have a stable government, a Mazboot Sarkar. But the bad news is that we have a divided opposition. The opposition's voice and dissent to crucial issues are significant for a healthier democracy. We are yet to see that. Let the headlines be the real issues that the nation is confronting. Healthcare, education, illiteracy, pollution, women's safety, infrastructure, agricultural distress, freedom of speech and expression. Satya Brahma says India has spent trillions of rupees since 1947 on education, social welfare programs and defense. But 70-odd years later, the country has the largest population in the world of ill-educated, unskilled, unemployable youth, certain health and socio-economic indices that are worse than those of some of the world's poorest states, and a showy but short-legged and second-rate military dependent on imported armaments. When hate and anger are weaponized, it creates a spiral of silence. Satya Brahma, chairman and editor-in-chief of Network 7 Media Group, feels that India as a nation has emerged as a strong and dominant player in the global map. Despite critics labeling India as a failed nation is not true and logical. We will continue to be a great democracy, economic superpower, despite odds and challenges. We have a historic opportunity. Let's seize the opportunity.
Dear guests, we request you to pay attention to the following important safety announcements. Keep your mobile phones on silent mode. Take a moment to locate the nearest emergency exit in the venue. Locate the closest firefighting equipment. Please maintain safe distance from all event equipment like lights, truss, sound, LED and cameras. Remember that no fire or security drills are scheduled today. So if you hear the alarm, exit the venue from the closest exit. Do not smoke in the venue unless it is marked as a smoking zone. Do not panic in emergency situations. Remain calm and follow the instructions. have a safe event. Dear guests, we request you to pay attention to the following important safety announcements. Keep your mobile phones on silent mode. Take a moment to locate the nearest emergency exit in the venue. Locate the
So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's welcome on stage Mr. Satya Brahma, whose brainchild, India Leadership Conclave, is entering into its 10th glorious edition. A huge round of applause for Mr. Satya Brahma.
Very good afternoon to all of you. This is the 10th annual Indian Affairs India Leadership Conclave 2019. I am privileged to have with you all of us and those people who have accepted my invite to be the speaker and address the issues that I have discussed with them, what topic they are going to talk about. I would like to start my first opening address. The country is talking about Chidambaram being arrested. The political situation of the country is not at all fluid. It is absolutely fine. He has been the finance minister and the home minister of India. I don't find any reason why the first family of India, Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, everybody are supporting for this. Let the law take its own course. And let us not talk so many into details that the judiciary is being questioned. And people, those at the high helms of the society, are thinking that anyone can escape from the land. It's not going to be possible. But we also must understand we have a strong judicial system in India, and the system is such a robust system that we have that anybody who flouts the law will ultimately land up in such kind of situation. I have got live feeds just 10 to 15 minutes back. There are so many talks are going on, and I think some 7,000 to 8,000 people are marching towards the president's house. This is simply not acceptable. This is not healthier for India, actually. India Leadership Conclave's vision and objective has always been to empower the entrepreneurs and enterprises. I am speaking at this conclave at the background of what Prime Minister Narendra Modi drove down to power for the second term in sweeping landslide mandate. Who had imagined, even I had not imagined, and those political pundits also had not imagined, that Narendra Modi is going to secure more than 300 votes. People were talking that he might land up somewhere around 200. They will require allies, and they will require coalition government to do. But look at the kind of mandate he has got. He has got because of what he has done in the past. Since independence in India, there has been so many moments that we could have seized that opportunity. We didn't, because successive governments at the center have actually exploited us, and they have actually tarnished the image of India. They didn't think about India. They thought about themselves. They actually built their own pocket, and they didn't build what India actually wanted, actually. To me, if you ask me, 2014 is the most historic moment in India when the entire country voted for him. And in 2019, the results are very obvious. But we have some certain serious challenges that we are confronting. What is happening in Afghanistan? What is happening in Syria? What is happening in Israel? What is happening in Balochistan? Look at the kind of terrorism that we are facing. Donald Trump is unpredictable. He speaks like anything, actually. Who will believe that such a person like President of India, the most powerful person in the world, doesn't know what to speak? Is it possible that the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, in a one-to-one meeting with the then Secretary Jaishankar, will tell Narendra Modi, will tell Donald Trump, that I am there to intervene in J&K affair? It was never discussed. He wanted to please Imran Khan, who was visiting there. And I will tell you the reason how Imran Khan got an opportunity to go to the White House. Donald Trump's relatives are based at Middle East, especially in Dubai. He finally got an opportunity, and they felicitated him, actually. That is why he could make an entry, and he could do that, actually. But this is not a becoming of a president of the United States, which I strongly condemn. We have a serious issues to face. Terrorism is at the back of our mind. We have done so much of reforms. Narendra Modi himself has carried out multiple reforms itself. But let me tell you one thing very clearly, economy is not in a good shape. The standard of living of the people has not changed. The people are still suffering. Demonetization was a disaster. GST is a game changer. GST, which people don't like it, they will simply believe that next to 2-3 years it is going to be normalized. So all the taxes, this tax and that taxes are going to be abolished, and GST is going to be the much more focal point than ever before. There is no doubt that India will have a bright future because we have a strong internal democratic fabrics and the economics is very robust. But we need private investment, we need savings, we need something to give to the society, something to give to the people. The Land Ceiling Reforms Act in India are very faulty actually. I know some of them who are present here, they will be also realizing that those who want to set up their manufacturing facilities in any place, they'll have to take political favorism. And ultimately, when they take that benefit out of that, the local tribal areas there, they will also simply put out their views that we will not be able to give that land, and ultimately they go out. 2,493 MOUs have been signed so far in the last 1 and 9 months. But these MOUs have to see the light of the day, and we must also see that Indian economy grows. And I hope the Finance Minister Satya Brahma is watching. And I'm sure that what the predecessor Arun Jaitley ji has done for the society and for the country as a whole, he must also initiate the reforms. Start dialogue with the industry persons. Listen to their concerns. Go and ask them what is the problem. And don't just give views that you want to do it. I feel that this particular budget actually missed that point. This budget didn't actually address the core issues of economics. It actually addressed the rural areas, agriculture, and some certain other areas. But at the back of the time, look at the escalating trade tension that is going on between China and the United States is greatly impacting. And US suddenly has become a hostile and importing the tax duties on us, which is creating a lot of havoc. So we must also have to keep the house in order. And India's foreign diplomatic policy must also be robust, that enough to actually take up any sort of challenges. We have a huge task to perform. Opportunities are actually manifold, and challenges are also very complex. And how to bridge that gap is actually very important, actually. And finally, I wanted to say one thing, that the mandate that Narendra Modi government has got from 2019 to 2014 should address those issues, and I think hopefully we'll find out a solution. I'm also aware one thing, that next to 10 to 15 years, Narendra Modi is going to rule the world. And if he does that, if Indian economy comes into that fold, it will be a historic moment for us. And this is the time which we have to do it. And the theme of this year's conclave is opportunities. This is all about opportunities. We have a historic opportunities to do. We must seize these historic opportunities. We are talking about the $5 trillion economy, which is the main subject of the thing. $5 trillion economy will anyway happen. I know there is no question about that one. But how do we bridge that gap? How do we increase that private investment? And how to increase that foreign direct investment coming in? And how to address the concerns of those stakeholders who are coming into India? And what are the policy reforms that the government needs to carry out to actually attract these people to come in? I know Prime Minister is very serious about easing of the business. The easing of business will happen when the entire hierarchy level actually works in that direction actually. The ministers and the prime ministers are very serious about these issues, but at the bottom level, they also must act in tandem to see that the economic reforms that are being rolled out, the various policy measures that has been given are being practiced in letter and spirit. And to me, that is going to be the historic moment. And I have no doubt at all. I'm absolutely convinced that India will become a superpower, and we will be reckoning in the world map as one of the top democracy and the most important economic power in the world. With these words, I conclude. Thank you very much.